Now then YouTube, I am the Toff Man and welcome back to my Botania world. Now it's a brand new world for this spotlight. Just really quick off the bat guys, I am talking about Botania for 1.7.2. If you haven't seen my previous spotlights on Botania, they're both going to be in the description below, so you can go ahead and watch those ones. I'm going to be expanding upon what's in those videos, so if you're not familiar with Botania, make sure that you go back and watch those first. This is technically going to be part 1 of 1.7.2, but in reality it's more like part 3 of this mod spotlight. We're going to start from Beta 17 and work our way forwards, which is of course when the mod was updated to 1.7.2 up to the latest release that I have, which is Beta 24. So that's what these videos that I'm going to do now are covering. So make sure guys, if you haven't seen this before, then go ahead and look in the description below and follow those videos all the way back so that you know what you are doing up to this stage. So as you can see guys, look at this 1.7 world now. I'm going to go ahead, get a little place ready and sorted so that I can show you guys some new stuff that Vazquez's been adding into Botania. The first thing I want to show you guys, which was brought in Beta 17, along with the update to 1.7.2, is the floral fertilizer. This was something that wasn't in the previous version before, and you can craft it as follows with a variety of different Botania. This is the grey powder that you can get through the different flowers through Botania, but if you don't manage to find any Botania flowers for whatever reason, or if you're looking for a specific type of flower, for example, the floral fertilizer can also be crafted with 2 dandelion yellows and 2 rose reds along with a bone meal. And basically what this will allow you to do guys is you can stick it on the floor there and it will create Botania flowers, and only Botania flowers. Nothing else. You won't get all the vanilla stuff, you'll just get Botania flowers. So that's how you can get hold of some if you're putting this into an existing world, as well as if you don't manage to find the particular flower that you're after in 1.7.2. One of the aesthetic changes that was brought into Beta 18 was the new pylon model. Now, I do apologise, I've totally forgotten the guy who makes these models. And I should know this. I really should know this. I've spoken to him a couple of times over Skype with the group. But this is the mana pylon now, which I believe looking at it is much smaller. But look at what this looks like, guys. This is a real good job at the mana pylon. A new mana pylon, guys. Next on the list of stuff to be added is in Beta 19, which was a particularly big update, and there's quite a few different items that I'd like to go through that's been added into Beta 19. So if you have a look in the Lexica Botania here, and we go over to, I believe it is, there it is, portable mana transport. Now if we actually go to this page here, it is also possible to indirectly access the mana reserves of a mana pool through the use of a mana mirror. Items will pull out of the pool itself. To bind a mirror to a pool, one will simply shift right click to a pool with the mirror. The mirror can't put mana in or take mana out of pools in any other way. So this, guys, is the mana mirror, and if we actually open that back up, I'll give you the recipe. It's a mana pearl, a terra steel ingot, which I will get to in a second on how to craft, a living rock, living wood twig, and a mana tablet, and that will get you the mana mirror. Now, this is a brand new thing that's been brought in as well, and I'll cover this, as we go forwards. It's basically an everlasting pool of mana, but we'll get to that in a second. It's a creative only item. Oh, I've practically covered it now anyway. And what we do, guys, is we take the mana mirror. Let me go ahead over to, I don't know. Let's go to here. Shift and right click. And then, look at this, guys. We've now, if you have a look at the mana mirror, it is linked to that particular, this pool here. And say, for example, we've got a mana blaster or anything that uses mana that's in your hands. We'll take it from the mana pool that this mana mirror is linked to. So I can go ahead and shoot all this mana over to here, and it's going to make absolutely no difference to that pool, but it is going to make a tremendous amount of difference to this pool. How great is that, guys? That is the mana mirror, and that is how that mana mirror works. So, how to craft some of the stuff to actually get the mana mirror. Well, the living wood twig, shift click, is 2 living woods, and that will get you the living wood twig. It's really not that hard. The terra steel ingot, however, is a bit of a pain in the backside to get. As you can see here, I'm not quite sure what this is. Now, before we get into all that, how to craft Terra Steel and so on and so forth, I'm going to have a look at the Mana Steel and what has actually been done with the Mana Steel. As you can see, guys, if I just go back here, and back again, Mystical Instruments right here, you will see a new Mana Steel equipment. Mana Steel are like other metals, can be shaped into tools and armor alike. Tools or armor crafted from this material will share the properties with iron, albeit somewhat superior in enchantability and durability. Whenever a Mana Steel item is to take damage, if there is a mana available in the inventory, such as a mana tablet, it'll use that instead. Now, I believe it also uses that mana mirror that I told you about. It will go ahead and use the mana from that. So, as you can see here, Mana Steel pickaxe is done with these Mana Steel ingots and the living wood twigs, which I told you about. We got a shovel as well, axe, shears, sword, and then all of the armor, and then so on and so forth. And we've got, and that will go ahead, like I said, and use the mana available to you in those things, like the mana mirror there, and the mana tablet, and so on and so forth, instead of using the durability from the material and the weapon / armor itself. Also, in Beta 19, there is a way of making grass, podzol, and mycelium with these new seeds: pasture seeds, boreal seeds, and infestation spores. Now, if we go ahead and just make a little bit of an area here for you guys. Pasture seeds. If you plop this down, it will go ahead, plant one grass block, and then spread across the space that you've got. Now, I believe it's up to like 4 on each side. Vazki would have to, you know, double check with me on that one. I can't remember how long that actually goes. And of course, we've got boreal, which makes the new podzol stuff from the 1.7 Minecraft. And then last but not least, the mycelium, which is the infestation spores. There you go. Now, you can craft these things. If I chuck, can I chuck that out and then have a look at it like, I can't look at it like that, can I? Pasture seeds, there it is. Watching grass spread is seldom a fun activity. By infusing some tall grass with mana, it's possible to create pasture seeds, which will grow grass in any barren area via a simple right-click on dirt. Other types of foliage can also be grown, such as podzol or mycelium, which I've just shown you with the alternate seeds. Basically, you put a bit of grass in the mana pool with this much mana, and you will get pasture seeds back. A shrub in a mana pool, and you'll get boreal seeds back. And a mushroom in the mana pool will get you the infestation spores. Also in Beta 19 is a new block called the Redstone Mana Spreader. As you can see right here, it's full, and I've got a tiny bit of mana inside here. Now, at the moment, I think that's off. Is that off? I think it is off, isn't it? Let me get a bit of redstone. Can't remember which way around it is. Yeah, that's off. Good, good. Now, this Redstone Mana Spreader, let's use the book and the functionality of the shift right click on there so we can get to the right page straight away. By combining a mana spreader with a piece of redstone, it's possible to create a redstone mana spreader, which fires only when given a redstone signal, regardless of having a block in the end to put the mana or not. It's to keep note that this doesn't let the spreader shoot a burst until the last one dissipates or is absorbed. And that is just a mana spreader with a redstone. Now, basically what that means by at the end there, where is it? What it means here, it doesn't let the shoot a burst until the last one dissipates or is absorbed. It basically means once you give it that redstone signal, it's not going to allow another burst out as soon as you finish the last one. Let's give it a redstone signal so you can see this. There's the burst. So you can't just sit here and spam it. And it will not do more than one burst at a time. It basically works on a pulse. You see what I mean about you can't just sit here and spam it? It doesn't work like that. You've also, like I said, you've got to get it a pulse. So you could set up like a clock system or something like that to make it work, or so on and so forth. But basically, that is how this redstone mana spreader works. Remember that you cannot constantly give this a redstone signal and expect it to just keep going and keep going and keep going. It does require a pulse. Now we're going to move on to the exciting stuff, guys, and that is Terra Steel. Terra Steel armor and the Terra Blade. How do you craft the Terra Steel you'll need to make this wonderful, wonderful stuff? Well, let's go and have a look, guys. We've got the Terra Steel armor inside here. Armor made out of Terra Steel, much like the Mana Steel counterpart, can utilize mana from the inventory instead of taking damage, as you know from the Mana Steel. This armor, however, has properties more like diamond instead of iron, and increases the wearer's health when worn. This is great, and I'll show you this in a second. Let's go on to the next page. Terra Steel ingots, guys, and I'll show you how to craft them in a minute. But you've got the helmet, you've got the chest plate, you've got the pants, or the leggings, and you've got the boots. Now, if we go and get ourselves out of creative mode, back into normal mode, and grab ourselves some Terra Steel stuff, take a look, take a good note of my health, just on the bottom left, there. Once all that stuff's gone out of the way, so you can actually see my health bar. Now I'm going to put this on. Now look at my health. It gives you an extra full bar of health. I mean, how fantastic is that? That's for just putting on the Terra Steel stuff. Of course, we've got the Terra Blade, but I'll get to that in a second. How do you craft Terra Steel? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. Let's go into here so I can show you. Well, it's not simple. I mean, it's simple in the way that it's crafted, but it's not simple to make it craft. You need a Mana Pearl, a Mana Steel ingot, and a Mana Diamond on a beacon. That's right, guys. On a beacon. Terra Steel is a powerful metal infused with the magic of nature. Creating this metal proves to be a short order. In order to create it, toss a Mana Steel ingot, a Mana Pearl, and a Mana Diamond on the top of an active beacon. A Mana Pool must be present nearby, being at least half full. The infusion will create a single Terra Steel ingot. That's a single Terra Steel ingot. Now I'm going to build just one of these things around it so you can see. There's also been some texture work on there, but I've had to turn it off because it lags my game. But I had to go into the configs to actually do that, guys. It will be on by default, so just watch out. Let's get the Mana Steel stuff. Well, the Mana stuff. Again, you need a Mana ingot. Oops, pick that back up. Now chuck these into here. Sit back and relax. Come on, you know you want to do it. Now, I know you do work. I've tested you numerous times. It definitely does work, guys. I promise you, it does work. However, myself and Vazki had to find out what exactly was going on there because mine worked and his didn't. Eventually, we actually found it out to be a coordinate problem. If the coordinates over here are in the plus, then you're absolutely fine. However, if you're negative X or negative Z at all, you obviously can't be negative Y. But if you're negative X or Z, then it won't work. It won't be able to craft because of roundings and stuff like that. But he is fixing it. He is going to fix it, guys. So at the moment, I'm running off beta 29. I would suggest tentatively that it would be beta 30 that particular bug is fixed. But if you chuck a diamond, Mana Pearl, and a Mana Steel ingot, there we are, Terra Steel. That is how you do it, guys. Make sure that it's all on the same block, otherwise it won't work. And over the beacon, make sure that you've got your mana supply near it, and there you go. That's how you craft Terra Steel ingots. On to the next piece of equipment called the Terra Blade. Now, the Terra Blade, guys, is something that is crafted with that Terra Steel that I showed you, and obviously the Terra Armor is crafted with that as well. The Terra Blade, crafted from Terra Steel ingots, is a sword infused with a natural strength. Not only does it power with a diamond sword in terms of strength, and it uses mana from the inventory like Mana Steel tools, but when it's swinged, or swung, I think Vazki means there's a chance for it to create a beam that will deal as much damage as a melee hit. Now, by that, I'll show you how it's crafted as well. Obviously, 2 Terra Steel ingots and a living wood twig. Now, what it means by that is, there we go. That's the classic example of it there. And I've got a creative mana tablet here. But when you swing it, not every time, but there is a chance that it will create this beam. And the beam, whatever it comes into contact with, will hit it for as much as what a normal melee attack does, which I think is absolutely superb. And that is the Terra Blade. Next on the list, guys, is called the Horn of the Wild. Now, this thing is fantastic. I love this, and it's so powerful when it comes to Botania. It really is. Clearing out tall grass by hand can definitely be a nuisance. Simply blowing the Horn of the Wild will quickly cause any nearby vegetation to uproot, leaving behind drops as if it had been broken by hand. And it's crafted with some living wood and one of those pasture seeds. Now, you won't be able to see it in this world, so let me go ahead and create myself another world so you can see the Horn of the Wild in action. And welcome back, guys. Now, I've got the Horn of the Wild here. This looks like a little turd or something in my inventory here. Now, if we have a look, Botania, as much as I love the Botania flowers, I always think that there is a little bit too many of them floating around the place. And if you're building a house, or if this, all this stuff's going to get in your way, there is a quick and easy way of going out and just harvesting a load of plants. With the Horn of the Wild equipped, just simply hold right click. Oh, man, that is great. And look, let me put magnet mode on. Look at that. The range is quite far, guys. The range is quite far, as you can see. Oh, man, that's great. And like I said, Botania, there is an option as well in the config file to go and change the amount that the flowers spawn. So if you do find, like myself, that there's a little too many of them floating around, then you can always do that. Let me go over here and show it once again. Look at that. Look at that. It's great. I love it. I think it's great, guys. So there we are. That is the Horn of the Wild. And I'm staying in this world, guys, because there are two other things that I want to show you. More likely, this one is the one that I want to show you within this world. This one you can use in the other one absolutely fine. Now, what I like is, look at that little animation effect on the Rod of the Lands. That's another thing that was added in way back in Beta 19 that I want to go through. So the Rod of the Lands here is a really simple tool. And basically, it uses mana and creates dirt. That is basically what it does. The Rune of Earth, Living Wood Twig, and dirt. And it creates dirt, as you can tell, guys. Basically, just put it down. And it will go ahead and use mana from your mana tablet or wherever you've got like the mana mirror or anything like that. Now be careful, because if you stand right in front of a block and you put a block down, it will end up in your face. Just got to say, you can get out of there and so on and so forth. But still, it will end up trapping you. So be very, very careful, guys. That is the Rod of the Lands. Now, the one of my favourite one, and it's real powerful tool for terraforming your world, is, of course, the Terra Firma Rod. And you can find it in here. I'm sure you can. There it is, the Terra Firma Rod. While digging away at dirt with a shovel is definitely functional, flattening huge tracts of land can get somewhat torturous at times, and it can. It really can. By utilising the Terra Firma Rod, it's possible to terraform in a quick and environmental friendly manner. This rod will, at the cost of some mana, so again, you've got to make sure you've got some mana in your inventory, flatten the land to the level you are standing. For this to happen, charge it by holding the right click, and slowly but surely, the nearby terrain will flatten to your level, either by placing dirt blocks or removing blocks. Note that blocks removed by the rod are non-recuperable. The terrain will adapt to the changes as best as it can, up to a distance limit. To avoid cuts in the hills and the like for this, the flattening will work in the terrain's natural look. And this is what the good thing is, guys. I love the way that this works, and I'll show you that in just a second. You can craft it with Rune of Winter, Rune of Autumn, Rune of Summer, Rune of Spring, Terra Steel Ingot, Rod of the Lands, and the pasture seeds. Now this is brilliant. I love this block. Let me go up here and say, for example, I don't like those. I don't want this hill here. I don't want this hill. How amazing is that? I mean, I'm sorry, but that is fantastic. I love that. And like it says, guys, it will go ahead and shape the terrain as if it would be natural. Like that, look. Like it's doing back there. That is amazing. That really is absolutely amazing. I mean, the blocks that you're digging away, you can't get back. But this, I would gladly take. I would gladly take absolutely no stone or dirt or anything like that, just to be able to have the ability to do this. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic, guys. The Terra Firma Rod, definitely one of my favourites. Also new in Beta 19, a couple of functional flowers, the Julia and the Tangleberry. Now, I've got the Julia here, which is right here. Now, it does require mana. Let's have a look in the Lexica Botania. Actually, shift, right-click on the plant, and you'll get it. The Julia is a flower that, at the cost of a small amount of mana, will keep any nearby animals or monsters at bay, protecting a circular area from them getting in. It's crafted with the pink mana petal, purple mana petal, light grey mana petal, mystical pink petal, rune of water, and a rune of air in the petal apothecary, and you can get the Julia. And basically, guys, it's like a ready-made fence. Now, I can go ahead, say for example, I had a water source right here and I had some crops growing and, you know, there was a lot of pigs or something roaming around. Well, I could put a Julia right in the middle of my farming area, and any mobs or monsters as well, it does work with monsters, any monsters or pigs or any kind of animals or anything like that that come near will just get rebuffed, basically. Hello, pig. Like that. It'll just get pushed away. Now, that's the Julia. If I take that away, it's obviously not going to do it. The Tangleberry is the same, but the opposite way around. Plop that there. It will now keep the animals in, and they won't be able to get out. So, say for example, I think it's wheat that pigs follow, isn't it? Is it wheat? Or is it like carrots or something nowadays? I don't know. It's been ages since I've actually done anything like this, guys. There they are. Right, watch this. It can't get out. And it's like a fence, but like the other way around. It will keep your monsters, your animals, inside that particular, the range of this. As long as it has mana, it will do it. Oh, there we go. Hey. Ha-ha! He's stuck. I can have a pig farm now. And these little buggers, they won't be able to get out at all. They'll just be rebuffed all the time, and they'll stay in their own little like pen area, and they will not be able to get out of there, which I think is a fantastic idea. Right, let's go and have a look. Make sure I'm not missing anything within the Tangleberry. Nope. And this is how you craft it. Rune of Earth, Rune of Air, Mystical Cyan Petal, a Cyan Mana Petal, Light Grey Mana Petal, a Grey Mana Petal in the Petal Apothecary, and you get this, which is great. Skipping forward a couple of versions of Botania to Beta 22, it's now added baubles and accessories. Basically, baubles, if you don't know what that is, guys, if you play with Thorncraft, you will know that the new version of Thorncraft adds this baubles and accessories, basically, that you can, you know, add amulets and belts and stuff like that. It's a really nice, neat little mod as well. And Vazki has tapped into that with his own versions of some of these amulets and so on and so forth that I'm going to go through in a second. The Everlasting Guilty Pool was also added in to Beta 22, which is this thing. The Creative Mana Pool has infinite mana, worthy of an egoist. That's definitely right there. That was added into Beta 22, which is highly useful for doing stuff like this, where I'm doing like a show-off and stuff like that, whereas previously I had to really work to try to get this spotlights going with the amount of mana that's needed with some of them. So yeah, that was also added within Beta 22. Also in Beta 22, guys, the Wand of the Forest. I don't know if I've covered this at the start of my spotlight. This spotlight's actually taken quite a long time to get together with some of the bugs and problems that have managed to come up. But those have been fixed, and which is brilliant. I mean, Vazki, I've known Vazki for a long time now through Thormit Tinkerer and doing the videos on Thormit Tinkerer. And it's really quick with fixing problems, and it's absolutely fantastic. Anyways, the Wand of the Forest is now crafted with living wood twigs. I'm sure I covered this earlier on, but just in case. Living wood twigs now, guys, as you can see across there, instead of sticks. Now, baubles and accessories has also been added into the Lexica Botania, which is right here, and there's quite a few different things to go through that I'm not going to be doing in this particular episode. I'm going to do that in part 2 of the 1.7.2 version of Botania. So please do join me for part 2, and don't forget, guys, if you don't know something that is part of the base kind of Botania that's not been added into this 1.72 or has not been covered in this particular video, it most possibly has been covered in my previous spotlight of Botania, as I mentioned at the start of this video. I will put the links to both of those parts in the description below so that you guys can go ahead and take a look if you do so wish. And in the next episode, I'll be covering all of these different baubles and accessories, and of course, some new bits and bobs that have been added since. So until then, guys, I've been the Toff Man. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay safe.